Hey everyone, I'm here for part 2. Hopefully I did not accidentally delete part 1. I don't know. We'll find out once I'm done with this. So my purpose here in this live, as this is an impromptu live tonight, I wanted to talk about the space, the collective space, the sacred container for dreams that I'm going to be facilitating during eclipse season, which this time for the circle actually came in spontaneously. It just happened to be eclipse season when I actually had the space to do it. So this is so perfect. I'm really excited to connect with you all. Hopefully, I'm just excited for those of you that connect. So I'm gonna just pin this comment again here about my dream circle. And like I said, hopefully I did not delete the first part of this. So you guys can check that out, because I kind of talked about what led me into the dream space, and it was crazy. I've always had crazy dreams. Something for me is that I think another interesting thing for me with the dream space is that since I was a teenager or a preteen, really, I had sleep paralysis. And it's been really easy for me to lucid dream. And one, I've also always been an avid journaling person. And so it kind of makes sense that I would journal my dreams. And I very rarely ever journaled my dreams up until very recently, or at least been consistent in it. And mainly that's because for me, I hate waking up and I've had my moments where I wake up and dream, and then I just start to write it, and then I look at it when I actually wake up and it's a mess. I can barely read it, and it's just kind of frustrating. So I've never felt super inspired to write my dreams up until really recently, and I created a whole ritual around how I personally write my dreams. And so I am not someone who right away, soon as I wake up, I write my dreams. I don't do that. What I do wake up and write my dreams, but I don't do it upon just like half in sleep mode, half in awake mode. One of the things that works really well for me is that I will, like, once I wake up and I know that I've had a profound dream, and I'm very selective for the most part of the dreams that I do write. I tend to write the dreams that really emotionally move me, or I just know within my body what feels like something that's in alignment, and what feels just like, oh, this is like whatever kind of a dream. If I'm meant to know it, that's the thing too, where I take a lot of the pressure off. If I'm meant to know whatever the message is that the dream is wanting to communicate, if it's meant for me to like really give attention to, I will receive that message in other ways. And I'm really good at paying attention to subtle energies within my environment. So I think that's another reason why I haven't really felt previously this call to write my dreams up until, this last season of summer. And so what I do within my own personal practice, and I'm going to go in depth with this in the circle, I basically, what I do is that I wake up, right, and I know it's a profound dream. So one of the tips, and I think I posted about this, I actually didn't. But say if you have a dream, right, and you're laying on your side, you wake up and then you turn around, like you lay on your back. Like, if you want to trigger the memory of that dream or bring it more into clarity, turn back around to like laying on your side, if that's how you were laying when you were dreaming, right? Or say if you were laying on your back when you were dreaming, you wake up and you turn over, lay back on your back, and then, in that moment, remember, set the intention, like, I'm going to remember what I was dreaming. And that's what I do. Essentially, I make sure I'm laying in the position that I was in when I was dreaming, when I woke up. And I also will run through the dream in my head. And I kind of basically do that until I get my ass up and like write the dream. And so I'll come in my office or like in the kitchen or whatever, and I'll sit and like have my coffee or tea, and I'll just start writing my dreams. Because like, honestly, I mean, I have my dream journal here. I don't know. My dreams, like when I'm writing my dreams, I mean, it's just like pages and pages of like, okay, so here's a dream. So it's just like, I mean, you can't really see this, who cares? But that's 4 pages, 5, 6 pages. Let's see, what else we got here? I know there's more. 6, 7. Yeah, I'm sure it goes on. 8 pages of the dream or dreams. Sometimes it's like, you know, a couple dreams that all I'm like, oh, they happen back to back, or these were what were important in the dream space. And so I sit there and write that. And so that's why I can't just like get up and as soon as I wake up and just write it, because one, it's a mess, and it's like, for me, when I write. So that is an intention I set with myself, is like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go over the dream in my head until I get my ass up, and then I will make some tea and sit there and write it. And that's a part of my ritual. So there's also a bedtime part of this ritual that you might want to, well, I'm going to share that in the circle. So you want to join the circle to get the bedtime ritual aspect and all the goodies with creating your dream journal, your ritual, your dream space, your bedtime ritual, and all the things. But that's something that really helps me with that. And so I don't really know where I was going with that part. But yeah, so within the dream circle, I'm really, really excited. So it's going to be within the span of 28 days, right? In 28 days, if you ever do a ritual for 28 days, it is so fucking powerful. Like, I kid you not. It's the best thing ever. And I think the first thing that I did in a 28-day span was fascial maneuvers. And I was doing it, or I do it with Human Garage, which is this whole community of healing through the fascia, through movements, through breath work, through astrology. It's like literally all the things. And they have a 28-day life reset, and it's freaking amazing. And that has definitely been very supportive in my healing journey physically, because I do, and I'm sure a lot of you believe that we hold our trauma, we hold our emotions within the body. And not only do we have it in the body, hold it within the body, but specifically the fascia, right, holds that memory. And we're also 70% water, give or take. Don't hold me to that exact number, but we're considerably mostly water internally, and water also holds energy and stores, records, right? Energetic records. And so anyways, with fascia maneuvers and what I was doing, I knew it was important to do movements while going through this 28-day ritual. Aside from the 28-day life reset, really reset me. And then after that, I really witnessed the power of 28-day discipline ritual. And so I did my own 28-day ritual specific to integrating and merging with the divine intelligence of my higher self. Most of you witnessed that journey if you've been connecting with me for a while, as now I'm like, oh, you can call me Urania. That's who I am now. And so that's what it is. And that was all from that 28-day span. So my point is 28 days really gives you a solid understanding of your power in yourself, your divine trust within yourself and the divine. Also, your ability to be disciplined and devoted to healing, to your spirituality, again, to yourself. It's just a very strong, of course, depending on what the intention is, but overall, it is a very powerful statement of being intentional and connected and showing yourself self-love and nurture. And so there's a lot of power in 28 days. You're also able to see your habits, witness your habits and your patterns. And when you do a ritual for an extended period of time, just being in the ritual moment of same time every day, having that space of presence, being in a state of awareness and peaceful in that moment, even if it's 10 fucking minutes, you will be aware of what is out of place, in my life. What's that bird that I'm hearing in the background, or just what's going on in my body? I'm feeling the sensation today, because you're coming into this space every day at the same time over the course of a moon cycle. And the moon cycle is potent. The moon cycle is everything, because you have the beginning to the waxing, to the full peak energy, to the waning and the release, and bringing the energy back into the earth, or back into the death phase, right? To that energy that becomes compost and nourishment for the next cycle. And so when I did, and I'm getting chills now just saying that, when I did the 28-day ritual for myself, I still work with my ongoing clients, right? I have clients that I work with on a consistent basis that are in this path of devotion, self-transformation. And I really see this as priestess work, because my clients keep journals and records, and they pay attention to the astrology, and we're working with all the spiritual things, because, I'm not just an astrologer. I'm also, I don't know, work with me and you'll find out, right? Follow me and you'll find out, because I don't want to be the person, well, I do this, I do that, but I'm not just an astrologer. Like, this is my life. I'm a very spiritual person, and I live life intentionally. And so once I did my 28-day ritual, I was like, okay, do you all want to do your own 28-day ritual? Like, let's work together. I can help you, identify an auspicious timing for you, specifically for your own astrology and what's going on collectively and such. And with that 28-day process, like, they did it, and they really had strong results, of course, when you stick to something for that long. And all of us wanted to do another 28-day ritual. We're like, okay, what else can we do for like 28 days? This is amazing. And so when I showed up for myself, right, did the 28-day ritual, I then wanted to do the next 28-day ritual focused on, I would say it was primarily focused on wanting to really get to the bottom of what the fuck was blocking me within my unconscious mind and unconscious trauma, where I'm like, I'm trying to manifest this. I'm doing all of the things right. Why is this not showing up? What is going on? And I knew there was some auto programming that was just working in the background, that I'm just like, okay, so naturally the way it unfolded was going into the dream space, and that was a part of the next 28-day ritual. I said this in the first part of the video. Hopefully it's there for you guys. But I'll say that it was nightmarish. The first, I don't even think I made it past a week, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, shit's going down. So I can't. So I took a couple weeks off of working in my dreams. I spent that time grounding myself, getting everything cleared. And then I went back into the dream space, and it's been 2 moon cycles of really working with my dreams. So, in the midst of all that, at the end of the first moon cycle with the dream work, I really, really felt a strong call to create a dream space, a dream circle, where those individuals who essentially want to go within the unconscious realm into the dream space and heal and connect with the unconscious trauma, to also just really access that 25% of our lives that is spent sleeping, to access that space intentionally. And really, with accessing that space, you're learning so much about yourself on the deepest, darkest levels, that it's inevitable that connection, that intimacy with yourself is going to influence your waking life for your own benefit. And like anything else, there's going to be dark, there's going to be light. And I would say at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit heavy. So it is really beneficial and supportive to do this in a space where you can have others supporting you. And that's why I wanted to facilitate a circle. And initially I wanted to just have a group of my friends, and I'm like, yay, let's dig into the dreams. But my friends are really busy, and they would say yes, a lot of them, but you know, I don't know if they would. I want people that are like fully, like a full body fuck yes, right? And so that is why I'm opening this up. So for Urania's Dream Circle, it is going to be a 28-day healing sacred container for dreamers who seek healing, seek to connect with the deep mysteries of you know, yourself and such, and to even connect with the cycle of the moon and the rhythm of the moon in nature, and really understand your own moon cycle. What I'll share here that I shared in the previous live that I just did is that what I've also learned in connecting with my friend Raven, who is really a seasoned practitioner with dreams and herbs and all of the things. We were having a meeting, and we were talking about dreams, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in this phase of my moon cycle, my period, in which like the dreams are freaking wild. There's so many, like I can't even bother to write them down. It's just like a lot. And she was saying, and I told her what phase, right? And it's the luteal phase of the period. So it's in between after you ovulate, but before you bleed, right? And so it's that period in which your body, everything is coming up so that you can purge, you know, what, you know, it's coming up to be purged essentially. And when I told her like, yeah, I'm having all these crazy dreams and it's in this period of time, like I'm like, you know, in this phase. And she was like, oh, that's normal. That happens. That's like the most active time of dreaming, you know, at least for women, when you're in this phase between ovulation and between your bleeding. And so it dawned on me, because I have men that follow me, right? And I talk a lot about period and menstrual cycle and all of that. And I remember I was doing a live on YouTube, and someone asked me about men and their own moon cycles and how can I connect with my moon cycle. And my response at that time was to, you know, look at your birth chart, which is still my response as well, is to look at your birth chart, see what your moon, obviously the sign that your moon is in, but more so the phase that your moon is in, and, you know, and correspond to the relationship and correspondence to the sun in your chart. What phase is the moon in when you're born, and that essentially is your new moon phase for you, right? The beginning of your own cycle with your moon, and you can start there. And that's for anybody, right? I'm born on a dark moon, a balsamic moon in Capricorn. Excuse me. So that's that's a new cycle for me specifically. But we can even take it a level deeper, as you know, our cycles are always changing. And if you are a male, right, and you know, and you pay attention to your dreams, and you know when your dreams are in that active period where it's just like an onslaught of dreams that just don't even make any sense, you can really tell that you're in that phase of your own hormonal cycle and connection to your own moon cycle and the moon, where, okay, you're in between the ovulation and the bleed. So the ovulation is the peak of the moon cycle, right? Which is like the full moon energy. And then the bleed is the new moon energy, right? And so in between the peak, the full moon, and the bleed is that phase called the luteal phase, which is when you get the abundance of dreams and energy, and also like moods and hormones, and everything's going crazy. Everything's coming up to be purged. So, you know, that can help you give it insight. So I wanted to make sure I share that here again in this video, in case I don't upload the other video because I lost it, right? So the dream circle is going to be for 28 days. Every week within the 28 days. So that's 4 weeks, right? Once a week, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we'll meet on Zoom. I'm going to basically teach a short lesson, about probably like 30 minutes on a specific topic. So, again, you can check all of this out on my website. The link is in the bio. I have the comment pinned here for you guys who are here live. And I see your comments coming through, so I'm definitely going to address that here in a second. But so every week there's going to be a specific topic that I teach on. Then we'll have open discussions, dream interpretations, Q&A. So the first week I'm going to talk about creating a dream journal and a bedtime ritual. The second week we're going to talk about dream categories, symbols, and interpretation. So dream categories essentially is the types of dreams. So we know lucid dreaming, we know there is mutual dreaming, which I talked about on the live before with Christopher. Shout out to Christopher, where these are dreams that you have, you're having the dream, and then someone more than likely someone you're close to, has the same dream, slightly different, but basically you're having the same dream, probably at the same time. And that's called mutual dreaming. You can do that also intentionally with a friend, which I've always done. With one of my friends, I'm just like, hey, let's meet at the pyramids. Like, it started out as a joke where it's like, I'll meet you at the pyramids tonight, yay. And then we were like, okay, actually, like, let's meet at the pyramids tonight. Are you down? And we were successful. And I've definitely had deep astral travels in which we would meet there too. And so that is a part of dream categories. There's also incubation dreaming, where you set an intention to go to a place. So basically kind of what I expressed in the mutual dreaming, but you can do this by yourself. You set an intention for the dream and then hopefully dream about that, right? And so much more. So we'll focus on that on week 2. Week 3 is integrating astrology with your dream practice. So I will share with you how to look at the current transits within astrology, how to look at your own birth chart in reference to your dream intention, or what you have for your practice, or just even when it comes to journaling, how to even bring that together. And as I shared a little bit about the moon cycle, that's one way to do it as well, and integrate that. And then week 4 is going to be dream reflection, integration, and embodiment. So knowing how to basically bring your dream work full circle from over the course of 28 days, how to integrate that and embody what the wisdom, the insight, or, whatever trauma comes up, how do you integrate that and then embody your intention? So it's going to be fucking awesome. I'm so excited. Also, what is so magical is that this is going to occur. The circle is going to happen during eclipse season. Now, I did not plan this out. It just happened this way because of timing, and I was initially going to facilitate the circle with a friend, but it ended up not working out. But the times that both of us could get together just happened to coincide with the solar eclipse season, the eclipse season that's coming forth, right? And so there's a solar eclipse happening on October 14th. New moon, Libra, solar eclipse that initiates the eclipse season. There's going to be a full moon Taurus eclipse. In that time span, there's also going to be obviously Samhain, Halloween. Mercury is going to have a Cazimi, so we're going to have Mercury Cazimi. There's going to be Pluto stationing direct. There's going to be, I wrote all of this down. Of course, I don't have it in front of me. But there is a lot happening. Mars is going to move into Scorpio. Mercury is going to move into Scorpio. There's a lot of fucking energy during this eclipse season. I guarantee you the dream space is going to be wild, right? And so I'm so excited to be in community while this is happening, because the healing, the awareness, the illumination, it's going to be powerful. So I really, really hope that you can join. It's going to be great. There was one other thing I wanted to share. Oh, there's also going to be a private Discord channel for the circle. So even though we're meeting once a week, you will have the ability to connect with me and the other circle members, ongoing discussion, sharing. So if you have a dream Thursday after the meeting and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with somebody, like I have to tell somebody, you'll have the space on the Discord channel to share what comes up, right? So if you're interested in that, definitely check out the link in my bio. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be talking about this a lot, and I will be back on here live on Wednesday to talk about dreams and the astrology. And we are in the space at this moment of the equinox, which is here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's equal day, equal night officially today, or possibly depending on where you are. If you go, so I'm in New York, so it's today, but if you are getting more to the southern latitudes, right, or closer to the equator, moving south, then the equinox is later in this week, right? So we're right on time for all this liminal space, astral type energy. So I'm going to go and scroll on through. Christopher, I know I saw you in here. What is up? So Christopher says, do you think you lose some of the detail of the dream by not writing it down right away? Yeah, no, I definitely do. But I also am not attached to it. I feel that what I'm meant to know will stick. And like I said, I replay the dream in my head. Like I narrate it to myself when I'm laying in bed until I get up. And that's something I just had to do for myself, because that was my biggest resistance, was writing it right away. And then I was like, well, whatever, like I'm just going to forget it. So I had to honestly accept that I'm going to forget some things, but I'll remember a lot. And I told myself, and I set this intention too. So I think it's obviously really good to be intentional with the dream space, in which, how do you want your dream space world to go? If you're not remembering your dreams, and even if you're not remembering your dreams and you feel that you don't dream, still join this circle, because I guarantee you, the more you connect with me and others that are in the space of dreams, you will begin to remember your dreams, like slowly but surely. And that's been happening since I've been here publicly talking about dreams. I've had friends being like, oh my gosh, like I had this dream, and like now I remember my dreams. I didn't even remember dreaming. And now it's like every day I'm waking up and like, oh my gosh, and this thing. So I had to accept that I'm not going to remember everything. But then I also set the intention that I desire, or I will, exerting my own divine will, I will remember what is essential, what is necessary for me to remember at this time, for my highest and best, or, whatever it is that I said. And I always write my intentions down, because I got a lot going on in my head. And so that's kind of how I deal with that. And I've noticed that since I've started, as time has gone on, I remember more and more. So say at the beginning of the practice, I set that intention, but yeah, I just remember, oh, there was this one theme about a car. So I know cars are really important. So I'll just like write down, okay, this car was, in my dreams. And I do pay attention to symbols, sometimes colors specifically will stand out to me. Like I had a dream that started with like the emoji black heart, which is really like special and significant for me personally. And then there was, in the same dream, there was Basset, the Egyptian cat, but she was a black cat, and my cat Wednesday is black, and she's definitely my familiar. And so it was really her in the dream, but I got the vibe of Basset's, and there was something else that was black, but the theme of the dream was black. And one thing that I will say is that when you are interpreting your dreams, you always want to trust your own intuition and your connection to the symbols before you go look in a book. Because when I looked up just, the symbolism of black, of course it was like, oh, this is, I don't know if it said the void. It may have said the void, which that makes sense. But it was like a lot of kind of negative, shadowy things. And I was like, no, I fucking love black. All my clothes are black. I'm like super connected to the black emoji heart. Like that's my go-to. And that just, when I saw black, I'm like, oh, that's powerful. That's me. That's my connection coming through. That's my higher self. And so anyways, like the symbolisms, the dreams started to really stay longer as I started really paying attention to them, because we're like training our consciousness to stick with, the dreams, and to really like, it's like, oh, we want to pay attention to this, or we're paying attention to this now. Okay, let's start to like feed in it, and you get more and more and more. So that's the way I approach, losing the details, if I don't write them down right away. I just don't, that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. And so that's why I have my own practice. But, it's important to follow whatever feels good to you. Okay. MHE Astrology says, I call us divinistas. Yes. Okay. Christopher says makes another comment. 28 days is the amount of time a human needs to create a new idea. If they keep that idea, they will repeat it every day. Yes. And it's interesting that 21 days. So isn't it like 21 days is how long it takes to form a habit or to establish a habit, which, I was like, okay, we're short of 8 days, which is fine. But what I love about 21 days, 28 days, with 21 days, what I think about is 3 weeks of 7, right? If there's 7 days in a week, we get 3 days. That makes sense because it takes 3 to recognize a pattern, right? Or in this case, like to establish a habit. And the 4, once you get to the 4, that is completion, right? And so one of the things I've been saying in my head since even hearing that, because I heard it recently about the number 4, it's like 3 is a charm, 4 is completion, structural completion. And so I've been saying in my head, 3 is a charm, 3 is a charm. And I've been saying for a long time, like, I like my messages in 3s, 3s are really significant for me. And so, that makes sense. So with 21 days, 3 weeks, right? So 3 weeks of recognizing a pattern, right? Or to create a pattern, or to recognize a pattern. And then with the number 7 is such a sacred number, as it is the number of wonder, the number of wonder, the number of mysteries, the number of spiritual purpose, or that deep spiritual journey and just devotion and discipline. It's the number of, I associate that number with Saturn. I love the number 7, and we are in a 7 year. So 21 days makes sense to me. And then when we bring it to 28 days, that's the 4th week of 7, right? And so this is beautiful because we have the sacred number of 7, which is very spiritual and mysterious, and just very like, you gain some wisdom. And like when you do things if you connect with that number 7 and that vibration, there's just like this like gain esoteric wisdom and vibration and energy that you receive. And then when you bring in the vibration of 4, right, which 7 times 4 is 28. So you bring in that vibration of 4, and you have that structural completion of the spiritual journey, of the mysticism, of the wonder, of, that esoteric insight and wisdom that's coming through that really brings everything full circle, right? And so not only do you get the pattern within the number 3, 7 weeks of 3, right? 21, create a pattern. But then you also, bringing it in 1 extra week, you get that full completed cycle, and just like coming into this solid foundation and strength within yourself in 28 days is so freaking magical. So I love it. And then what I also thought, I was thinking about this recently, breaking down the 28 with 7 and 4, is that you also have, this is the number 7, as I said, is associated with the numbers with Saturn, and then 4 is associated with the moon. And so with 7 and 4, we have, or what was really coming through for me personally when I started this year, because I'm in a Saturn ruled year, as far as astrology and annual perfection, which that's a whole nother thing. And when I started this journey, because I'm like, okay, I'm in a Saturn ruled year, and there's a strong connection between Saturn and the moon, right? They just have these, like, their cycles, right? The 28 days of the moon cycle, the 28 years of the Saturn cycle, like there's a connection. And I was like, Saturn and the moon both hold records. They're the record keeper, and they deal with form and embodiment and structure. And then when I thought about the 28 days recently, and I was like, oh my gosh, another Saturn moon connection, right? The structure, the completion, and, you know, the foundation and embodiment along with the ritual. And you can't make this shit up. So yeah, 28 days is the amount of time a human needs to create a new idea. If they keep that idea, they will repeat it every day. Thank you. I love life and all of these things. Okay, so more. I'm looking for my stylus here. So Christopher says, as long as they repeat that idea every day for 28 days, it will become a ritual that they don't even think about. It will come naturally for them. Yeah, I can attest to that, testify to that. Humans only need 28 days to incorporate a new idea into their minds. Understandable. Kettle Buddha. Hi, Kettle Buddha. What's up? We got to talk about astral travel when we have a next live. Yes. Okay. So Kettle Buddha, if you ever want to do a live with me talking about astral travel, I'm down. I have had a lot of experience with doing deep trance meditations and astral travel. This was my way of, like, you could say getting out of the dream work, but not having to stick to a dream structure practice, or because I am someone who, I have a lot of vivid dreams, but I just didn't have the energy to pay attention to them, or to write them down. At least I definitely paid attention to them. So I set the intention in the past that, hey, communicate with me in my waking life. I'm really good dropping into deep meditation, which I would be in a deep trance for at least 45 minutes or longer. And I've had some really interesting experience. So I would love to talk about astral travel. Also, like I was saying at the beginning of this one, I believe this live, that I started out this journey really with sleep paralysis. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with sleep paralysis, but if you're not, basically it's the moment in which you wake up, but you don't wake up, but your whole body is in paralysis, so you cannot move. And yeah, it's really intense and scary. And it's like you're trying to say stuff and you can't say anything, and then you can kind of see in your environment. And I've had some really interesting experiences. I feel that I've had like spiritual battles while I've been in sleep paralysis, because again, it was like a moment where I was yelling mantras at the corner of the room because there was something there, and it was so weird. And then a week or so later, I found out, this was at an ex-boyfriend's house, and I found out that there was an entity there, and I had to clear that space. My friend and I had to get it out, and there's a whole interesting story that came along with that. But as I got more and more comfortable with sleep paralysis, and it doesn't happen often anymore, and it only usually happens when I nap or if I slept too long in the morning. If you have sleep paralysis, you can actually astral project. And I read this. And also I heard that if you have sleep paralysis, there's a chance that and I don't know how valid this is, but you are connected to ancient Egypt. So you possibly have had lifetimes in ancient Egypt. So I don't know the correlation. I saw that one place somewhere, but it stuck with me, of course, right? Look at my background. And so I had an experience where what I read was that if you are in sleep paralysis, if you set the intention that you want to astral project, so just in that moment, you're in sleep paralysis, like, I want to astral project, you will astral project. And I did that, and I did astral project. Like, I swear to you, I freaking floated up above my body, and I looked down at my body in that moment, and I freaked out, and I landed it was funny, I projected back into my body, and I then was still in sleep paralysis and then quickly woke up. But when it was interesting, when I was in sleep paralysis, I looked up, and at the edge of my bed was like an old man, like a ghost, like sitting at the edge of my bed and crying. And I was like, what the fuck? And this is when I lived in Boulder, right up against the Flatirons. Like, it was, what was the name of that? Oh, I can't remember. Flagstaff Mountain. We had hemlock growing wild in the backyard too. That was I missed that house so much. That was a very magical, active house. And so it wasn't a surprise that I had that experience. And I also had an experience of also astral projecting unintentionally in that same house. So, and then as I've said before, I've lucid dreamt on purpose several times. And so my dream space is really active, but I never have really been intentional in this way of writing to get an understanding or to learn about myself or to heal. So this has been a very powerful journey, and I'm very proud of myself for sticking it through. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna wrap this up here in a minute. Huddlebu said, that's awesome. Yeah, we can talk about it. I practiced. Oh, whoa, 10 years? Oh, yeah. I really would love to hear some things. So we're going to get that. Like maybe Wednesday this week, if you're not busy, 8 p.m. Eastern time, I would love to connect. But I'll message you. We'll definitely do that at some point. Oh, wow. Oops. Kettle Buddha says, started with sleep paralysis. Oh my gosh. Yes. What? Oh my gosh. Yes. Kettle Buddha. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're going to have to talk. I'm like, if I didn't have to put my little one to bed, I would be like, get on here right now. I freaking love this. Yeah, I still watch documentaries about Egypt. Speaking of Egypt, okay, I'm going to pull a few cards because I just have to. And then I got to put my little one to bed. But Luis, is that the right way to say your name, Kettle Buddha? Or Luis? I would love to have you on live. Maybe Wednesday. If that doesn't work, I can work with your schedule because I am so... It's very... I wouldn't say it's rare to come across any people that have sleep paralysis and know, like, actually have the Lewis, okay, have the courage to go deeper when they have sleep paralysis and entertain, lucid dreaming, astral travel, and all of that. But yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, so let's do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it Wednesday. Okay. So let's see what messages. I got my Egyptian deck here on the bottom. There is the Hierophant. Speaking of the teacher and thresholds, gateways, today in the Northern Hemisphere, at least where I am, we are in the day of the equinox, which is half day, half night, equal hours. So, yeah, that makes sense. This is the true day of balance. And also... pay attention right now to where the sun rises and where the sun sets, because you'll be able to get an understanding of your true east and true west. As in the time of the equinox, around those times is where that perfect alignment is with the east and the west, as far as the sunrise, sunset. All right, so let's see what messages do we have for us today as we close out. Okay, something just flipped over. Wasn't expecting that one, but okay. What messages do we have for us today? Thank you. And as I was saying, I like my messages in threes. So that's 1, that's 2. Oh, wow. This is really interesting. All right. What else do we need to know today? Okay. Yes. Awesome. I was like, can I get a major arcana here so I know what's going on specifically? All right. So we have the Fool. We have the 9 of Swords. And the 2 of Cups. So what I'm going to say, I have to say this because it's in my mind. I was going to wait until the end. But what I forgot to say about the dream circle that I'm facilitating is that there are 4 goddesses that have come forth to also be of assistance and support in guidance for us during that 28-day period. And those 4 goddesses are Nut, Basset, Amunet, and Seshet. I'm like, and Seshet. So I'll say here, the first 7 people that sign up for the Dream Circle will receive this notebook here and it has blank scribe paper, right, in it, or papyrus paper for scribes. Seshet is the goddess of scribes, the ancient Egyptian goddess of scribes, timekeeping, and wisdom. And so as a free offering, this first 7 people, speaking of the number 7, will receive this free of charge, mailed to you directly as soon as you get your spot. And right now I have early bird pricing until the end of the week, until October 2nd, or technically October 3rd, October 2nd, 11:59 p.m. And yeah, so that is a special offering. Okay, so let me just connect here with this energy. And do I have my lighter? Yes. See what is the message for us. There we go. Oh, okay. Me astrology is pronounced me. Yeah, it stands for most horizon elites. We don't discriminate against any deity one uses to connect with the Most High. I love that. I vibe with that. I've gotten often, people would ask me like, what is your religion? Because I've connected with so many deities, and I don't know, it's like, I just connecting to the source. Like sometimes they come to me, sometimes I seek them intentionally, but you know, I'm open, you know, so I resonate with that. So Christopher says here, just these last little words. Christopher says, I was going to write something about sleep paralysis because I have a theory that where we have the ability to transcend time and space, like navigating the Tesseract, and that's where we have the ability to transcend time and space. Oh, okay. I see. You're repeating that. Or autocorrect. Yes. Yeah, I know. Sleep paralysis is interesting. All right, to bring this full circle. All right, so this is coming really clear and it's really cliche. And my nosy ass is going to have to get more cards because I just want to know more. But what I'm getting here with the Fool, right, as traditional and straight to the point, the Fool is that new beginning, and is stepping out on divine trust, taking a leap of faith in, with the number 0, that is the void, that is nothingness, and no thing and everything is what I like to say. So this really feels like a place of balance because there's neutrality and also there's presence and there is just space with 0. It's like, what is 0, right? Like, is 0 even a thing? Is it even a number? You know, like what's in the 0 space? But it is the circle. It's everything. It's included. There is oneness there. And being in that space of oneness is that space of beginning and connectedness, and anything is possible. And that is essentially where we are now. We are in that space of oneness. So with the equinox, right? And yes, the equinox was 2 days ago. But with the equinox, that is the point when the center of the sun, right? If we look at the sun as a disk and we focus on the center, when that center point aligns with the 0 degree point of Libra, in this case, as we're here in the September equinox, no matter where you are on Earth, when that point aligns with the 0 degree mark of Libra on the celestial equator, that is the moment where half of the sun is like, basically the sun is straddling, which I love that word straddling because I'm a Scorpio rising. Why not? but it's straddling the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, right? So it got one half up here in the north and one half in the south, in the middle over the equator, right? Over that 0 degree of Libra. And so there's this equality, there's this oneness, and the way the sun's rays are hitting the planets is like it's hitting it perpendicular, right? So like straight on essentially to that equator. So that within itself is speaking to the 0 points, the balance, the oneness, and being in a space of feeling whole. And what I like here, so with the 9 of Swords, this essentially is the monkey mind. This is, it's interesting. I've said about this deck before with the swords. There's always, I feel like most of the time it's like, no, you can't go here. And last week, I think we got the 8 of Swords, which was like actually 3 of the swords made like a door. So it's like, oh, you can come through here, but then there's a crocodile on the other side. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And here we are. You can see we're moving further and further through this cycle within the mind, right? Within the consciousness. And with the number 9, that is a point of ending. And in this case, what I'm getting here, and I think we saw this card before in a life, because I remember a friend brought this up as like representing the monkey mind, and that coming to an end, as the way the cards are on my desk here on the table is like the Fool is moving away from this energy, right? So we're moving away from this blockage, the resistance within the mind, and just all the things going. And it's like we're coming into a space of peace, right? Or we're coming into a place of being able to master the peace and master that energy of being connected and into like a space of wholeness and completion with ourselves and the divine. So then here with the 2 of Cups, that's pointing to the divine, right? Pointing to, or coming into union with the divine, with ourselves, within relationship here. And then we have, the Ankh. What is it? The Ankh is here 3 times. Like, I'm just like, okay. So eternal life, everlasting life, like everything. So, I mean, that's a very clear message. I'm just going to see if there's anything else. And I'm actually, let me pull from a different deck. I'm going to do my Osho Zen Tarot deck. And it's like, I do not want to leave you guys. I'm like, I don't want to get off of here. All right, so do you guys like my cauldron mug? This is my wine. I only drink wine out of this. So if I'm here, if you're watching me, I'm drinking out of this. 9 times out of 10, it's wine. And I don't even drink wine that often anymore. It's a treat, but today has been a very like high vibe day, and I just like, I wanted to treat myself. And for me, wine is always my ground. Like when I used to facilitate moon circles back in Denver, and when I would do readings, out in public, like for hours, right? At the end of the night, I'm like, oh, I need my glass of wine. Like I need to ground myself. And it was always with the wine, which is funny. So, okay. So let's see what final messages we have here coming through. Me astrology. Yes, I know you're a Scorpio rising. I saw that. I haven't responded yet, but I saw that. Yes, Scorpio risings in the house. So you get what I'm saying. Okay, that was accidental. Okay. All right, final messages here, divine, for us at this time. Yay, Christopher. I'm so glad you're still here. Okay, what messages do we have? Ooh, that just came out very nicely. Okay. Do you see? I love shuffling and letting the cards fall out because I pay attention to how they fall, where they fall, and that gives me more insight of the energy present. So the way both of these cards fell was like very graceful and just like flow. And one fell face up. One's actually reverse, which I don't really pay attention to reversals, but for some reason at this moment I want to. So I'll pay attention to that. And one fell face down. So let's see what the final one is. Oh, sleep paralysis is terrifying. Still, I don't nap because I know when I nap, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have sleep paralysis and I don't want it. But I've known, at least now knowing that I can astral project from that, I'm like, okay, worst case, I'll just astral project and see what happens. See if I freak out again, which I've only done that once, astral projected. Okay, so from sleep paralysis, intentionally. All right, so final messages. That one wanted to flip over. Ooh, look at all this. Oh, whoa. 3 hesitations. Okay, first of all, what are we hesitating on? That's something that's coming through. It's like hesitation type energy. And that is guiding me to reflect on the energy of last week, specifically the weekend. There was the energy of like hesitation with inaction, moving forward, within the energy of Sagittarius. So where is Sagittarius in your birth chart? That give you insight of like some elements of hesitation. And I haven't done the cosmic climate yet, but of course I've been looking at the energy. And this week there is actually going to be, or more so towards the weekend, there's going to be kind of an opening for moving through resistance. And on Friday, we have the full moon in Aries, which is actually a super full moon in Aries that is going to catalyze a lot of that fire and passion and desire. And yeah, so anyways, that's what was coming through. Again, as I say, I love to pay attention to the cards. And like there were 3 times where the cards wanted to turn over, but they hesitated. And I like on the bottom here, we have the King of Wands, the creator. So what do you desire? What reality do you want to create is what's coming forth there. But let's see, what is this final message here before my 3-year-old comes in and breaks it all up. All right, what? Okay. Oh, wow. We got 3, or we got 2 cards, a bonus here. And that makes sense, right? We were talking about completion. Oh, there's my kitty cat. Come on. Are you here for the final message? Speaking of Bassett. No, she came in to say hi and she's gone. All right, so interesting. So, okay, as I said, we have the 3 of Wands experiencing, right? So the 3 of Wands is, I'm not going to give you the typical definition, right? I can do that anytime. So I'm going to connect with this card. Hold on one second. Let me just close this door. Are you coming back? Okay. So the 3 of Wands, oh my goodness, as soon as I'm looking at this in the light here, this is connecting with nature, but like sensuality, like hug a fucking tree. Like connect with nature, like get very intimate with nature and go outside. And what I really like is that these are actually autumn colors. And I know everyone that watches, that connects with me here and watches the lives, they're not in the Northern Hemisphere, but this feels really relative to connecting to the energy of release, of letting go, of sacrifice. And that I feel confident in saying that based on the cards I have here on my table. So here, the next card we have that fell really gracefully but face down is schizophrenia, right? So this is 2 of Swords. And what's interesting about this card is that it's like, are you going to fall face forward or feet first? And so I'll let you consider that. But really the idea with this card is just let go, right? Let go, release, and make a decision, right? We're talking about the mind. And as I bring you back to the first 3 cards that we received here, is one of them was the 9 of Swords, right? And we're moving away from this energy of restriction and ending the cycles of resistance within the mind, right? That's keeping us in resistance, right? And so here we are with the Two of Swords, letting go. And so, oh, hi, Wednesday. Me says hi, Wednesday. So another card here speaking to letting go is the Four of Pentacles, the miser, right? So this is holding on to something that is very secure. Yeah, valuables, resources, not letting go. And this energy is going to be very strong this week. As I mentioned that this week there is a bit of a illumination around letting go, right? Around resistance, releasing with the super full moon in Aries. That energy within itself with Aries wants its independence and freedom. Aries wants to act now and think later. It wants to be in the moment. Again, bringing that energy of presence into mind. And that's a super full moon. And the moon isn't really super happy in Aries, right? As the moon is very emotional, but more so empathetic. And as the ruler of Cancer, it wants to nurture and hold space for all the things. And so with Aries is a very self-focused energy, which is fine, right? It's not without judgment, right? We need to pay attention to ourselves and take care of self. But when it comes to the moon and emotions and being a space of support, that at sometimes can be frustrating, especially for Aries energy. So with that coming in at a super full moon, that energy is like very charged up. In addition to that, Mars is in Libra, which Mars is not happy in Libra also because it is it's like the furthest away from its home, right? So Mars' home being in Aries, right? And if Mars is in Libra, it is like far from its resources, right? So imagine if you were far away from your home, like your coziest place, and you were all the way on the other side of the world for some time, for like a month and a half. You know, you're like, oh my gosh, like I want my things. I want my like at first it's fun, but after a while it's like, okay, I want what's important to me. So that is what's being experienced. And also with the full moon in Aries, super full moon, this is eclipse territory. So that's another thing to take in consideration this week, is that we're going to get a little bit of insight to what is going through accelerated change and deep transformation for the next 18 months. So again, with Aries energy, there is a strong desire for independence, for freedom, for sovereignty, for the ability to be in the moment, to be present and really connect with your instinctual nature. So one way to connect with your instinctual nature is, as I discussed before, connecting with the rhythms of nature in the sense of the 28-day cycle, connecting with the moon, and therefore connecting with that within yourself and understanding your own cycle, and bringing us here to the Three of Wands and experiences. This will soothe that strong desire of your passions, of like being present and being in the moment by going out and connecting with nature, or structuring your life around the cycles of nature, which will really give you a foundation and the ability to trust within yourself and the divine, so that you can let go and let God, right? And so here is us holding on to our precious values that don't really fucking mean anything. The only thing that means something of value is ourselves. Well, yes, ourselves. That's kind of funny coming out, but ourselves, life itself, the importance of life and the value of life, and being connected and present, and also being able to trust and just connect with each other, right? Your relationships are very important, and to be authentic with that. So all of the things like my cauldron cup, my tarot cards, like I really don't need my tarot cards. I could just meditate and journal, you know, or meditate and speak what comes forth, right? What if I don't have my pencil and my journals, right? I can just meditate and just share out into space, out into the ether, or with within my important relationships. So that's the point. And the bonus fucking card that came through, and this is why I love spirit, divine, tarot, all of the things is because the very last card is the Ten of Cups, which is we are the world. Like, you, I don't really need to say much for this, right? By letting go, you will access, again, this is zero, right? Isn't this the 0 point here? Coming back to what I mentioned here with the zero, I'm fully tapped into the energy right now, and it is amazing. And I hope that you all can feel what I'm feeling, and just really, I hope this resonates with you all. I feel, and then 10, right? The number of 10. It's coming from the 9, which is the ending, and the 10. I always look to the 10 as a new beginning, but a level up, right? Like a new beginning within the evolutionary process. Like you've just evolved. You have the 1 and the 0. So there's like the 1, the beginning, but there's still like stepping into the infinite possibilities. And it's like the 1 moving into the 0 through the portal, through the liminal space, which we are all currently in at this moment. And really the vibe of Libra season is creating space, is taking the pause, being present, releasing, letting go, so that you can really receive what is divinely yours and what is essential for the next part of the journey, that next step. So, oh my gosh, I feel so good, so complete with this. It's like I want to keep going, but I know I have to go. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope this resonates. Me says it does. Thank you. Kettle Buddha says the 10, 1 for the beginning and the 0 for coming back home. Enlightenment. Yes. So cool. Christopher, I couldn't have said it better. I love you guys. Thank you so much for just being here and witnessing all of this. I'm gonna definitely repost this. Make sure I don't delete it. And yeah, this was great. So I will be back here on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you are interested in the Dream Circle, the link is in the bio for all the information, or you can, DM me any of your questions. And I'm just so excited to connect with you all. And hopefully Lewis will be with me on Wednesday, and we'll talk about astral travel and all of the things. Me says is it Uma? It's been a great build. Let me know how to pronounce your name right, but I love knowing people's names. And that I feel connected to your name too. I like that. Uma. I think that I'm saying that correctly. So, yeah, thank you everyone. Like I said, I'll be back on Wednesday to share more on dreams and astrology. We'll see where we are then, because we'll be getting closer to the full moon, super moon, which I feel right now. So I can't let you guys go, but again, the message is to let go so that I can receive. And yay, I got it right. I was waiting to see. All right, awesome. Well, I will chat with you all on Wednesday. Have a beautiful night. I hope you have sweet dreams, and yeah, we'll connect here soon. See you later.